right, guys, we're back with the Attachment Point News Roundtable. I got Nick Berry today with Rocket Referrals. He's joined our insurance nerds community. He's been crushing it, helping out a lot of the guys and gals and everybody in the industry. And I appreciate you joining in, man, and kind of helping us level up as, like we're saying, things are getting automated, the game's changing. Thanks for helping us keep up with what's going on in the insurance world.
Absolutely. I nerd out on marketing and automations and stuff. It's like, well, it's my job. So at Rocket Referrals, my role is marketing technologist. So I look for ways for our sales and marketing team to connect data, connect tools, and get things together, and also help agents all the time, especially with tools like Zapier and getting data in and out of their agency management systems or their CRMs and into Rocket Referrals, or a lot of times other tools too. So it's like, I love my job and I love that I get to do that stuff, and I don't have to spend all my time staring at spreadsheets.
No, totally. So I hit record because I was about to go on a tangent that I thought would be helpful. Everyone's scared of InsurTech. They're scared of direct to consumer from carriers, everything else, which I get. But I think today the name of the game is brick and mortar that looks good, is clean, but then has digital reach. Like our agency that we're building up, just a budding little agency that kind of restarted, Newport Beach Insurance Center, has a place, has a location, city enabled, but with a startup, I'm helping them licensed everywhere. So I think you build the confidence local, but then you do the digital reach. And I know they're worried about the IA channel being challenged, but I feel like independence should be stronger than ever. If digitally enabled properly, if using these cool tools, I think it should be awesome. Don't get me wrong, your Main Street agent is changing, but for people who want to stay in the game or be active, I think it's a really cool time to be playing it.
Absolutely. I see so much opportunity for agents because what I see is automation as enhancing relationships. Automation shouldn't be and can't replace relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It's more creating opportunities for having conversations, for doing these things that, the things that you did when you were scratch and small matter. And then using automation to make it easier to do those things again. So to send handwritten cards, to send texts, to send emails at scale are where the opportunity are for agents, and using automations gets you there.
Well, and I think we're going to automate the blocking and tackling, the paper pushing side of the industry that it's notorious for, and we're going to go do more of this. It's going to be more one-to-one, like real conversations of substantive things, and I think you should automate the simple tasks, the smaller policies, with some guardrails set up where you can have your own preferences on what kind of policy can be delivered, and then do the true client management, risk assessment, even, I've been in the life insurance side, even financial planning a little bit, and just getting the full scope of who your customer is as a person and trying to help them out.
Yep. Or using the automations to identify data opportunities and going, hey, this group of people, they look just like this group of people. Yep. Maybe I should try and sell them life insurance.
The Mimic group on Facebook, I think. We had a marketing buddy on my audio podcast, the Orange County guy. He was talking geofencing. So when you brought that up to the Slack, I was like, oh, we got to get Nick on. We got to help enable, my agent buddies, with these cool tools. So why did geofencing get you so excited? Why did you make the YouTube video, which I still need to watch, I have to be honest. Look, it sounds cool.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, geofencing came to me because we were going to a trade show and we couldn't get access to the attendee list before the event. And what I like to do is run ads at attendees, not trying to sell them, not trying to do anything, just asking them to come visit our booth, or getting videos of the sales team or the team that's going to be at the trade show, just saying, hey, my name's Nick, I'm going to be at X trade show this next week, can't wait to talk to you and learn more about your agency, stop by our booth, and those kind of ads, and just warming up the audience to seeing our name and seeing our face and stuff, so this group wouldn't give us access to that list. I'm like, okay, well, how are we going to do this? Because we like when we started doing those campaigns, we saw a lot more success at trade shows. So we were like, we need this. So I was like, I heard about geofencing, and so geofencing is kind of like geo-targeting, but it's a narrowed down specific area. So what I did is I created I went into Facebook, I created the pin of the overall facility, and then I just went in and started creating all these negative spaces around it and created a geofence. So I was like, I had the budget. I could have just ran it to everybody at the facility. I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to give other people a bad experience if they're not my customers. I don't
Yeah.
ideal customers. I don't want them seeing my ad. And I was like, if I was at a hotel and started seeing trade show ads, I'd be like, what the? So I was like,
Yeah.
I want a good experience for my leads and prospects, and my potential customers, and even my customers.
So you're
So
able to do it just down to the site, that granular.
yeah, I actually got it. So it was at the Grand Ole Opry facility. So I was actually I
That's
found a
cool.
map. I found I found it on Google Maps and just figured out where. And I was like, okay, they told us where the trade show is going to be. I was like, I'm going to just do this one, and it was a building. Like it wasn't even like
That's amazing.
the video I did just did a block.
Yeah.
I got it down to a building.
That's cool.
It was a ton. It was like it took me about an hour to do it, but it was so worth it. And then I was talking to an agent about the opportunity, and it's, you can target your competitors. If you're if you're a retail, if you're selling retail,
If you're a 2-horse town.
yeah,
Yeah. No,
target
that's
anybody
awesome.
who's walking into that building, you can target, or people who are going to specific parts of town, or if there's an employer where you want to get your company known.
Yeah, so we're Newport Beach Insurance Center on Costa Mesa. I could target just where all the boats are. Anybody who has a boat on the water, you're going to want them as a personalized client,
Yep.
Where I had heard about it makes sense. My little brother's auto salesman and is their marketing guy who came on, and we just rapped for like 40 minutes. And so he would just geofence around dealerships. So that way, your dollar spend's making sense,
Yep.
And he was talking about the mimic groups too.
Yep.
I don't think about what I'm doing as marketing, but I guarantee like doing the podcast, whatever else, it just opens the door. Like you said, you're just trying to get people there to have the conversation. It just kind of warms it up. And when people are aware of you ahead of time, it makes things easier, makes life easier for the actual sale,
And I'll talk to agents, and I'll talk to even other outside the industry, other business owners, and be like, marketing sucks. I'm like, no, marketing's job is to make sales easier.
Yep. I agree.
It's to create opportunities and to make, so it's two things. It's creating opportunities, and it's making the sales job easier. So it's working together with sales, working together with ops, working together with, for us is working with developers to make sure what we're doing is what our product says, or what we're saying is what our product does. And there's just always, I think so many people are scared of marketing because they see it's the wizard behind the curtain, and really it's just some guy
I hate to use like a bad war analogy, because war is a very serious thing, but I feel like the salesman's actually in the trenches with like a gun and a knife and trying to pull people down, and like they're out there like right there, and they have to like kill or be killed. I feel like marketing's like behind them. They're the artillery, they're the aircraft, they're the satellite imagery. They're sort of like setting the stage, but somebody still has to kind of go through the line. Somebody still has to go get it done and finish it off. Not to be too overly dramatic about me sitting at my little kitchen table, drinking my Keurig coffee, trying to get stuff done.
Right.
Yeah, but that's why I think of marketing and sales. You guys make our lives much, much easier when there's awareness. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just it's fun.
And we're leaning on the carriers and stuff. Like I'll have badges from different carriers on our website because of their marketing to help validate us. People come, they're like, "Oh, I'm aware of this product. This means they're reputable if they can work through them."
Yeah. And all those little things, those little things add up.
Building a narrative of trust, and you want to honor it. It's not like a sleight of hand or anything. You're building the ability to have a relationship, and to take care of people.
It's not like you're saying I was featured in Forbes because I paid to have an article in there or something.
Well, a lot of those are pay to play though, like the 40 under 40 or whatever else. Once I saw that, I was like,
yep. Yeah, that's why the awards, a lot of the awards that you'll see that we've gotten over the years, we don't publicize because we're not paying you to publicize this.
And there's some ego, you know what I mean? Like there's part of me sometimes that wants to be on the list or other recognition, or like, oh, maybe speak at a conference. But at the end of the day, it's just getting stuff done. I won't say who, but there's a great agency owner who built out a company who like is just not all that active on social media and stuff, and dude's just crushing it. Like, and he's just doing work. I want to find that balance where you're out there enough to where doors open and you can help people out and you can be helpful, but also at the end of the day, it's ones and zeros. It's my bank account. Like it's there's paper that's got to get pushed and things that got to get done. Otherwise, it's just a lot of noise, So
Yeah.
it's finding that balance as a slightly public person. It says the guy who has a website called brokerbrett.com. I like to keep things private.
Yeah.
That's funny. So geofencing, mimic groups. I'm trying to think. Yeah, print's not dead.
No,
Yeah.
print's not dead at all. There's a time and place for print. I see a lot of agents who are trying to bypass the print, doing things like sending out cards, sending out postcards, doing print advertising, print marketing. There's a place for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just doing it right and doing, if you're sending a postcard, send it at the right time. Send it, use it at the right opportunity. Don't, I've seen agents trying to do every door direct mail. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. You're spending a ton of money to target a bunch of people.
So hope 1 in 100 you have the right timing.
Yeah. Or you could do an automation to send a postcard using plenty of, on-demand services that will send out a postcard after, say you have a prospect and they haven't, the prospect's been open, you quoted it 30 days ago. They have not, they're not returning phone calls. They're not returning emails, opening emails. Send a postcard.
That's smart. No, that's really cool. You dig this. So I'm working with my buddy Ed. He lives in a nice neighborhood, a mile from the beach in Huntington. He created a general pamphlet for our agency, which is kind of budding and small. Then he wrote a personalized letter to his neighborhood. So he attaches a business card to the pamphlet to the personalized letter, has a picture on there, and is signing everyone. And he's just hitting all the doors in his cube block. I thought that's such a good use. I was so pumped when I saw that.
Yeah. I was listening to another podcast a while ago about an agent who his primary lead source is still door knocking.
It works for realtors, like insurance guys. I think it's hard to talk yourself into it because the premiums are smaller on the personal line side. But when I was at my buddy's benefits agency, I would go knock doors, try to pick up commercial business. I learned that my first year of sales was selling copiers. It was like 2009 during the Great Recession, knocking doors in Irvine in like an $80 Target suit, just getting kicked out of buildings and stuff. The glorious start we all dream of. Job lasted 11 months.
My second job out of the military was selling.
Thank you for your service. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Was selling office supplies in 2002.
Yeah.
Like the internet's barely around kind of thing.
Yeah.
Internet's barely a thing. Like our company website was, I remember even back then I was like, this is garbage. I'm not even going to tell anybody we have a website. I'm not even like, I don't want to give them my email address because they might go to our domain. So I was literally, I'd load up every Monday morning. I'd go into the office, I'd load up my trunk with our catalog, and I just go door knock.
Dude, that's cool that you had boots on the ground sales experience. Then you wind that back to marketing because you understand the endpoint.
Yeah. Well, marketing is just about learning people.
Yeah.
And learning how people, what people behavior, and that's really just spending time. Like I spend probably 10 hours a week looking at spreadsheets and data and going, what can I learn from this?
Yeah.
Looking at a lot of people will spend an insane amount of time looking at open rates. And I look at open rates because open rates are kind of an indicator. I look at activity. I look at replies. I look at unsubscribes. I look at people who are clicking and look at traffic. I make sure that like every prospect and email campaign we have UTM content, UTM codes, and are linking to every single.
What do you mean by UTM?
So a UTM is a URL parameter that goes at the end of. So if you're linking people to a blog post, what you want to do is go to, and there's a Google Analytics product tool that actually will help you build it. It's super easy.
Cool.
And you get this Google Analytics UTM builder, and there's this builder that you put in your link, the source. So we put in our email product, the method, and then the content. So you put those three things in, and you basically just make sure you're consistent. I have a spreadsheet that I have a list of all of my links, so I know what's what. And so you can look and see what's working, and then match up your email data with your Google Analytics traffic and your Hotjar data, and start looking at what's working in my emails, what's my engagement in my emails. That's more important than opens.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time looking at the data to see, okay, this subject line's not working, or hey, why is this person's email, because we'll send the same campaign from different people.
Mm.
Why is this person's email campaign opening higher than this person's?
Yeah.
And then we go back and look and be like, oh, well, this person's sending more emails before they get to the prospect campaign or before they get to this campaign, so they're more likely to open because you've had multiple conversations.
Yeah, the relationship built before the sell. Yeah.
Well, and a lot of people don't know this about Gmail, especially if you're using a Gmail email, not just G Suite. But if you have a prior conversation in Gmail, it will put your future marketing campaigns into the inbox, not promotions tab.
No, that's
So
smart.
what I teach a lot of people will be like, if you're struggling to get opens, or you're struggling to get your content in the inbox, is your first email, you should ask for a reply.
Yeah.
Your
That
very
makes
first
sense.
at your very first email, and like, even if you're booking demos, you're trying to book a consultation, or you're trying to get a quote conversation going, just ask them after they've booked the event. If you're using Calendly, just set an automation up that says, hey, I just want to make sure this is a good time, or this is the right whatever. Just ask them a question.
Dude, no, that makes a ton of sense. Kind of open up the channel, be there.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's cool. It's funny that, like, you think of marketing as this, like, oh, I'm just going to send out this thing, like a little bit of spray and pray. But, it seems like a much more professional way to do it.
Too many people do, and then they go, oh, well, marketing doesn't work. Or let's say, like the Facebook thing, Facebook ads don't work because I boosted a post back in 2017.
The views annoyed me so much. I'm like, how much money did you spend? How much money did you make? That's all that matters. Forget views, like.
So again, just like opens, impressions, and views and reach are indicators of, okay, people are opening it, people are seeing it. What can I do? Like, then you can start optimizing to get to the end result.
I sneakily am like an old man who, like, I pretend to be this digital guy, but I'm like working off of like legal pads, and like, I don't trust those computers, what they're telling me. Let's see how much money I spent. What did I make? But there's smarter ways to do it.
Yeah. So so at Rock Referrals, we're getting through and getting ready to wrap up our holiday card campaign.
Cool.
I have to report what my conversions are, what my spend was. Like, I still have to, like, but I also, in my reporting, I also show what our cost per interaction was, what our cost per click was. Those are, like I said, those are indicators to what you can do to improve next time to get conversions, to get sales, and get leads.
That's cool. And I think too, sometimes you can kind of, I'll say here, the salesman in me, kind of front line, just make or break, yes or no, kind of like, we're just trying to get this done. Mm-hmm. And I need to, like, step back and be a little bit more, I'll say, strategic, a little bit more aware. It can't all just be end of the line material, especially as we're building up our agency,
Yeah.
So I got to mature a little bit. I can't just be the cutthroat salesman who wants to just finish stuff off. It's going one way or another.
Well, and there always has to be somebody who has that.
Yeah.
Like, everything, I report to a director, my director reports to the CEO. I get to spend my time going, okay, well, this is what happened. And then my director be like, well, how much did it spend and what were the results? I'm like, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. Well,
that doesn't make me look good.
Yeah. But yeah, what gets measured gets improved. I've always heard you don't even need to, like, put a plan of action together. Just start measuring things if we're trying to improve them or work on them.
Yep.
So that's cool.
Yeah. And my mentality the last, I'd say 6 months, is trying to make things more simple. Mm-hmm. As a marketer and as a technologist, I tend to make things very complicated. Like, there's some things going on in automations that if I got hit by a bus, it would take our team probably a month to unravel. But I've also been working to I also document that stuff now. A year ago, I wasn't doing a great job of documenting it, but I'm trying. My goal is to, like, get things more simple, and your marketing can be simple. It can be as simple as, when this person does this, I'm going to put them here until they become a client, or they
Mm-hmm.
unsubscribe, or they tell me to pound sand.
Yeah, and that's important too. That pound sand or the unsubscribe button. I think in sales, people overhype closing the deal, and I think they underappreciate. You just got to know one way or another. Like
Mhm.
it's not you're not going to close everything, but like the fence is tough.
Yep.
It's just trying to. Yeah.
I said this to our team the other day, and I think they were kind of flabbergasted. I said, I want to get to know as fast as possible.
1000%. And I've said it before, but I kind of hate the phrase like "Saul catch a popsicle to one in white gloves." I'm like, that's lazy. Find the person that likes to catch a popsicle. What are
Yeah.
you doing? Um,
Yep.
yeah, and I don't, candidly, I don't feel like the most natural salesman. My little brother is this big old gregarious guy. He's selling cars. My dad, big old dude. I feel a little bit not say pensive, a little nice, but I always saw sales as kind of like the road to small business, the road to kind of getting out of regular jobs
Hmm.
and stuff. So that's why I gravitated to it.
My success in sales was always persistence.
Yeah.
And it's so my first year at Rocket Referrals, when I was a sales coordinator, I sent 10,000 emails.
Well, persistence, and I think I like layups. I like doing the same. I like knowing what I'm doing, being in a cadence, being like having my activities somewhat regimented. I'm
Yep.
bad about that right now. I need to get back on it. But I
Yep.
would just like the consistency. That's how I accomplish stuff. And
Well,
even yeah,
there's a lot of
simplicity. Yeah.
there's a lot of reasons that a lot of people will compare sales to sports,
Yep.
because sports is all about, like, if you're in a slump, like I played baseball until I
Yeah.
was 20. If I was in a slump, what was the one I had to get back in the cage? Like, it was more about getting in the cage and getting some strokes in there, and
To me, yeah.
just going back to, and like, now I wish I had the technology we have now. Like, my phone, this phone right here, I wish I could have, like, there was no slow-mo
What's your team? Did I
cameras.
see Angels on the back of that?
No, this is a Red Sox hat.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Southern California guys like these Angels. We got to talk to Pat
no,
West about baseball. He loves it. Yeah, I was never.
yeah,
Now I'm going to get on a random tangent nobody cares about, but that's okay. We're in charge of this thing. I'm
that's all
really
right.
bad at baseball. Like, I could play most sports, but for some reason, the torque, baseball and softball, I can never get my arm to dump over right. Like, I could throw football, basketball, track, whatever, but baseball was the one sport. Yeah, I just never really clicked. I
And
don't know.
I'm gonna probably make a couple people upset, but what my coach always told me is anyone can be a pitcher.
Yeah. Actually, I did pitch a little bit.
It,
Yeah.
Pitching is 100% about mechanics, and you can
Yeah.
teach your body to do almost anything.
Yeah.
So it's just more like, and it's just like batting. It's just repetition and
Yeah.
getting, figuring out what you're doing wrong. Like I said, but I was wishing I had the tech I wish I had the tech I have now.
Yeah.
Even just email automation back in 2002, I would have never had to leave my office.
I'm going to sound like an old man, but I love basketball. I was naturally good at track, long distance running, but I always joke, like, if God was like, you can be good at sport, nobody would be like, I want to be a long distance runner.
No.
But I love hoops. Yeah, like I coached a little bit. I wasn't very good. I was always like a seventh man. And I was actually joking with Buddy the other day. I was like, I think that's where my kind of like lack of ego comes in. I wasn't really that good at sports growing up, but I was just grinded.
Yeah.
I like my era of hoops. But again, if you're not hitting shots, layup, layup, pull back out a little
Yep.
bit, pull back out a little bit. And I do think I was joking with a friend on another podcast. I love basketball, and I was kind of a latchkey kid, and I've worked in restaurants, and I think all those things meld together to, for salesmanship. I think they were
Yep.
all pretty helpful. But yeah, I
Yep.
love the grittiness of basketball, and it's a different game now. I joke the only thing that makes me feel old was like the prevalence of DJs and the three-pointer, the prevalence of three-pointer in the NBA. Just not what I grew up with.
No.
All right, so we've gone off the tangent a little bit, but
Yeah.
so how do people find you? Insurance. It sounds like your wife's actually in the industry too, which I didn't know before this call.
Yep.
You're an insurance guy. You're hanging out with us. I don't know why. I don't know how you did it by accident, but it's the best industry once you accidentally find yourself in it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I don't think I'll ever be able to escape. Once you get in,
Same.
it's just kind of, well, it's like sales and marketing. I've tried to escape sales and marketing 3 times. I always end up back at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my wife's a claims adjuster for an insurance company here in Iowa. We both work from home now.
Cool. Yep.
Both of our companies are pretty much remote first. For the foreseeable future, which I'm like.
Same. My wife's doing PT school from home. Yeah, it's working out.
I wasn't okay with it in March. Like, I was like, I didn't have it. Like when I would work from home, it was only because I had a sick kid or I
Yeah.
didn't feel good. So I was like, I'll just sit on the couch with my laptop. And that was my mentality of what working from home was. And until they said, we don't know when we're coming back, come pick up your stuff. So like the company sent home my monitor, my laptop stand, and all of my stuff and everything. Then once I created a dedicated desk
Yeah.
at home, I started feeling better about it. I still struggle with sometimes when I want, because my job relies on a lot of other people doing their
Mhm.
job or getting their stuff done. So a lot of times I'm impatient. I'll be like, hey, I'm ready to do this thing. But
Yeah.
like, so my creative team isn't done writing or creating the
Yeah.
blog post that I have to promote and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh, it's getting better. Our team's getting, it's just took us, I used to be able to just look left and say, hey, when's that design going to be
Yeah.
done? Or
Yeah.
to my right,
Walk
I'd be
in the
like,
room.
hey, yeah, like, where's my stuff?
Yeah.
um,
No, that's good though for sales. Actually, I took a personality test. It turns out like I'm kind of impatient and I'm also not very formal, but it turns out it's a good leadership thing to
yep.
be like, but
Yeah.
yeah, I've enjoyed it. So candidly, I talk about more, but I lost a job almost 3 years ago and I haven't had a 9 to 5 since. It's been kind of nice. But I worked out of a buddy's conference room for the first couple of months. And then I connected with a buddy who had a benefits brokerage. I helped him out with PNC, and then we rented a small office for the startup I'm helping. So I always had a place I could work from.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would like work from home as much as I do. I start earlier. I'll maybe sneak off for a run, maybe middle of the day, go grab some groceries. My wife's doing grad school, so I'll cook a good amount. I'll work a little later, but it
Yep.
seems more holistic, which I'm kind of surprised by.
Yeah.
You know?
This summer I was better about getting away from my desk, but now
Cool.
we live in rural Iowa, and it's
So there's something going on. COVID's happening. I don't know if you're aware of this in rural Iowa, but apparently
yeah.
cities right now, it's a challenging time there.
Well, it is here too. Like our kids were at remote school for a couple of weeks because the numbers were really high here, and but it was I was doing really good this summer about taking breaks, taking the
Yeah.
dogs for a walk, taking like my 7-year-old who, she's stuck at home and like, well, I'm at work, kid. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
In the past, on her days off, she'd just come in and hang out at work and play on her iPad,
Cool.
and I'd stick her on a laptop. But now I'm like, oh, well, we can take a break and we can go. You can go
Yeah.
jump on the trampoline, and I'll sit on my laptop and send emails,
Oh, that's
or take a
cool.
break with you. And like that was. But now that it's getting colder, I'm like, I'm just gonna stay at my desk because I don't want to go outside because
Yeah.
it's cold here in the winter. So that's gonna be my struggle, and I think I've been even I played sports
Yeah.
most of my life. I hate working out. I hate
Yeah.
it. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to start working out with my wife
I
because I got to get some activity going.
I feel like I made a bad coastal elitist joke there. The only reason why I went down that tangent was because Chris Franklin, we have like our little InsureTech runners group. He would just joke that in Lincoln, Nebraska, he's like, oh yeah, apparently this COVID thing's going on. Not much changes here. He's like,
Oh,
we're a quarter mile from our neighbor, anyways.
yeah.
So that's why I made that bad joke as a
No,
coastal elitist. I'm sorry,
yeah,
I'm not a coastal elitist. I'm a simple man with simple tastes.
yeah,
We now are on these random tangents, but these are the fun part. If people have made it this far, they're just stuck.
yeah,
My wife and I do Yoga Glow. We'll stream like yoga classes sometimes. We haven't been great about that lately. And
yeah.
then I wasn't running for the past handful of years, but just for like social medicine, I've been getting out for 3 miles a day. Walk sometimes. Run. And that's part of that InsureTech runners group. That's been kind of my like sanity. How I've kind of done that.
Yeah. It's just cold here. Like
Yeah.
I hate the cold, so I'm like, I don't want to go outside.
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know what I'd do. All right, so if you've made this far in the video, you have to email Nick about what he should do in cold weather Iowa for working out and work-life balance. So we appreciate you hanging with us this far. Thank you for dropping all those marketing gems. I'll put some of your contact info on the YouTube channel, but where should people find you? How should they connect with you?
So you can connect with me. My email is nick@rocketreferrals.com. I'm on social, Facebook. It's just Nick Berry. Same thing on Twitter. My Twitter's twitter.com/Nicholas Berry with an O, NICHOLOS.
All right.
My dad didn't know how to spell apparently in the 70s. And those are the 3 places where I'm the most active. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, but I just post there. I don't engage.
Yeah. And Nick, to his credit, so we're in the Insurance Nerds Slack together, Twitter, really engaging, always giving, definitely that, I'll say provide good mindset and the sales will come. I see that, in the way you seem to approach things. So I appreciate that, man, and keep up the good work. And thanks for sharing some gems with us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Cool. Later.